Hi everyone, let's start with the .NET interview question and answer for the experience level, which is seen by multiple company, and I also experienced the question which is I'm going to share here. First question on the .NET development. As a full stack development, we have a front end, back end, and database part. So I am starting with the back end parts in the .NET. What the question they were asking? First question: what are the types of design pattern? Can you provide example of their uses? First, you have to mention a project, your skill set, and all, and what you did. If you work on the API part, design pattern, for experienced people, like any project is not created without a design pattern. So that is a must. This question: what are the types of design pattern, and can you provide an example of their uses? So yes, we have a design pattern. There is a variety of that: creational pattern, structural pattern, behavioral pattern, and in this category have a three main types. In these three types also we have a different design pattern. Creational design pattern, considering we have a object creation. Example include like singleton, prototype, builder pattern. Structural means it pattern focus on how objects are composed to form larger structures. Example like adapter, decorator, and facade pattern. For the behavioral pattern, this pattern mainly focus on the communication between the objects. Example, observer, mediator, and visit pattern. So this behavior basically used in the MVC microservices architecture. If you see, so this design pattern widely used on that level architecture. So that's answer you can give. Next question: what is a REST API? Can you define it in your own words? We have to give a very precise and crystal answer. What is basically they're asking in your own words, like what you understood. It is not like definition of any bookish or any statement, different definition like that. So we have to be the proper answer. A REST API is a type of web services that uses the HTTP request to get both post and delete data. And a REST API can be used to access the resource such as a file, image, and other types of data. Then next question about, can you provide an example of solid principle violation? Yes, we can. Before that, you have to be know like what is a solid principle, when it is discovered, why it is using. So that's why if there is just some problem, that's why this principle is used for the creation of the applications. So a solid principle violation is would be a class if class is like too many responsibility, making it difficult to maintain and change. That's why we are using a solid principle. For example, a class that both retrieve data from a database and save data to a file would be violate the single responsibility principle. Another example of solid principle violation would be if a class wasn't sufficiently abstracted. This could make it difficult to extend the class or use in a different context. For example, a class that a hard-coded value instead of using the variables using violate the open close principle. And finally, I can give one more example, like if a solid principle violation would be a if a class depend on another class that wasn't stable. This could lead to the problem when the dependent class changes. So for example, a class that depend on the library that frequently updated would violate the rescue substitution principle. So that's why this type of problem coming, that's why we are having to use the solid principle. And yeah, if this is not, then this type of problem will be occur. Next question, like can you describe the best CI/CD pipeline you can imagine? Because any developer if working, they are using right now in now market, we are using CI/CD, GitHub Action, or you can use Azure DevOps CI/CD. So anyone, if you work, you have to mention I'm working on both. So I have a experience on that Azure DevOps CI/CD and GitHub Action also. So I given the example and how to be used, how the process we are using starting, everything we have to be mentioned. The part of that, like CI/CD, like continuous integration, continuous delivery, and we are getting like automation testing over there. Then also code reviews happening with the help of CI/CD. Version control is also one of the factor which is we are achieving from this CI/CD. Next question: how would you address a growing technical debt? So there are few ways we can address the technical debt. Like first, refactor the code, then add test. Refactor code means this invoking making a change to the code base to make it more readable and maintainable and scalable. Second, we can do add test. This help to make sure that the changes don't introduce bug into the code base. Then third, like review code changes. This help to make sure that changes are correct and meet the standard in the form of the team. Then use version control. This help make sure that the changes can be easily undone if it is necessary. Sometimes what we doing like previous is better what we are currently doing, so we can roll back or we can do undone. So version control is also very important factor. Then implement automation. This help to make sure that the changes can be quickly and easily roll out to a user. So this could be answer I was given, so that's why I can addressing what we can give for this type of questions answer. Then what is multi-threading and why do we need it? Multi-threading very famous question. And multi-threading is ability like having an operating system to execute the multiple threads concurrently. Threads are similar to processes, I can say, but they are lighter and share the same address space. Multi-threading enable your application to keep the UI responsive while perform a long-running task in the background. So, but they are also asking like why we are using the multi-threading or reason need for that, why it is using. So it allow to utilize the CPU time more efficiently. Then we can say we have make our application more responsive to user input, and it allow us to perform the multiple tasks simultaneously. And next, like it help us to avoid the race condition and deadlock. That's why this multi-threading is very crucial and important. Okay, so this is a very good question. When do you use asynchronous method? Basically, like internally, async and await is also using the multi-threading concept. You use asynchronous method to improve the like responsiveness of your application. Asynchronous method are particularly useful when you are working with the input output operation, or such as accessing a database or web services over the network. So calling an asynchronous method doesn't block the current thread. It instead current thread is free to do their work while the asynchronous method is running in the background. So when the asynchronous method complete, it can notify the original thread like it is finished, and which point that thread can resume the execution. So one common scenario for the example when async method are used when implementing a user interface. For example, if you have a button in your UI that start a long running operation, such as downloading a file from a web server, it can be beneficial to execute the operation asyncly. That way, like the button can remain responsive so that the user can click it again and perform the other actions, and the UI can continue to update itself based on the changes in the application state. So this is the use of the async method. Then after that, the next question for that, what are the conditions for the garbage collection? Garbage collection in the .NET occur when object is no longer being used by the application and there is a no reference to that object. Then garbage collector will automatically clean up this object and free up the memory that they are occupying. So garbage collection is an automatic process in the .NET, and developer don't have to write any code explicitly mark object to garbage collection. If you have to be write the forcefully, then you can use the dispose method with the iDisposable if you want. Otherwise, GC will be automatically called in this environment. Next, we have a like link you. They are also like if you are more than 5 plus year of experience, then they are expecting the link you are working, or you would be a no. What is a link you? In the link you, like it is a use for like filtering, identify and project data from the arrays, collections, XML document, relational database and third party data source. So link you help to bridge the gap between the data and object. That's why it is used. And full form is language integrated query. Then next question, what is the inheritance in .NET? Inheritance is one of the key feature of ops concept. Like it allow you to create the relationship between the classes, and it enable you to create a new class, like I can say derived class from the existing or base class. So the this derived class can inherit all the numbers of base classes, but it can also be add its own members. So there are two types of inheritance in the .NET. Like for first is single inheritance and multiple inheritance. So in the single inheritance, when a derived class inherits from only one base classes, multiple inheritance is when a derived class inherit from more than one base classes. And then they are also asked like, can you give the example of who is doing the single inheritance, who is doing the multiple inheritance? So yeah, we can say single inheritance we can in the real time scenario when we are creating the abstract class, then derived class having only one level of inheritance, so that will be example of the single inheritance. But you want to implement the multiple level or multiple inheritance, so you can go with the interfaces. So they are also added this question when you are giving this single and multiple inheritance in the advanced level, I can say. The next question is, what are the commonly used .NET collection types? There are many ways to like collect the data in the .NET, but the most popular we have modern application are hash tables and queues. But they both provide the fast indexing. There is never space user for the large data set. And if your program need more flexibility, then this two database type offer it may be was exploring other option like stacks or bags, or it act as a own container rather than being allocated precise space as in array. Next, apart from that, if you are working, you can mention like array list is a dynamic array that can grow and shrink as needed. It doesn't have to be fixed size, so you can add or remove item from it. Then we have a queue option, stack option, and some of other commonly used .NET collection types are like hash table or sorted list. So these are the collection type which is had own advantages and disadvantages that you should consider before using them in your applications. So this could be answer you can give. Then this is a practical question. There are mentions, and we have to give the answer over there. The question is like, you have a simple class with a set of properties. You need to override the equals method to have, like we have a property are equal and object are equal. So this is a simple task. However, it allow to interviewer to check a lot of things. So like generate the ability to use the sense of syntax, write the safe code, for example, check null values, safe typecasting, absence of redundant statement like lots of if else or try catch you are using, knowledge of the modern C sharp syntax, for example, that changes class to records will automatically give whether you can follow or get hash code function detail and how it is related to it. So this is the practical question in the coding task they are asking, and if you want, I can provide the answer over there. Please comment it down here in the comment section. Okay, and this is the for the tips and trick for appearing questions in the .NET developers. When you are interviewing for the .NET developer role, the interviewer is looking to see if you have a necessary technical skills and culture fit for the team. There are also a few key points to keep in mind when preparing for this interview. Do your research, be prepared to code, check your internet access, have question ready. After the finish, they are asking any questions. So yeah, Then at the end we have to use the practice, practice, practice. So this is the key tips for the developer point of view. Thank you. Hope you like it.